Absolutely, here is a compelling argument in defense of Aegon to Targaryen, painting him as the rightful king and justifying his siege of the Iron Throne during the Targaryen Civil War, known as the Dance of the Dragons. Aegon II, the rightful heir and protector of the realm two Targaryens' claim to the Iron Throne was not only legitimate by the standards of Westerosi succession, but necessary for preserving the stability of the realm. He was the eldest living male heir of King Viserys I, and Westeros, for centuries, had followed male preference primogeniture. Though Viserys once named his daughter Rhaenyra as his heir, this decision was made in a time of peace and without the pressure of tradition or public scrutiny. As time went on and the realm matured, so did the perception that Aegon was the more suitable candidate. 1. Legitimacy and tradition. Precedent for male inheritance had been clear throughout Targaryen history and Westerosi law. No woman had ever set the Iron Throne before. When King Viserys fathered sons with his second wife, Alicent Hightower, it was natural expected, even for the crown to pass to his firstborn son. Aegon II, as the king's male heir, had the stronger legal and cultural claim. Rhaenyra's claim, while emotionally compelling, stood in opposition to centuries of feudal norms. 2. The Greens acted to prevent Chosfar from an act of usurpation. The coronation of Aegon II was a preemptive move to stop a civil war, not start one. Sir Otto Hightower and the rest of the Green Council feared that Rhaenyra's ascension would lead to instability, especially given her marriage to Daemon Targaryen, a man notorious for his ambition and disregard for law. Crowning Aegon II was an attempt to preserve the unity of the realm under a clear, male line of succession. It was Rhaenyra's refusal to accept the outcome that plunged the kingdoms into chaos, not Aegon's. 3. Aegon's siege was an act of restoration, not aggression. The siege of King's Landing wasn't an unprovoked act of tyranny, it was the reclaiming of a seat that was rightfully his. After being betrayed and nearly killed by his enemies, Aegon had every reason to believe the throne had been unjustly occupied. The so-called siege was, in essence, a necessary act of war to restore order and re-establish the rightful line of kingship. Even the High Septon eventually blessed Aegon's rule, recognizing the need for a strong king over the turmoil of civil war. 4. Rhaenyra's rule was destabilizing. During her brief time in power, Rhaenyra was often viewed as paranoid and ruthless. Her decisions alienated nobles and small folk alike, and her reliance on fear and executions undermined her legitimacy. Aegon II, by contrast, represented the return to lawful rule even if it came at great cost. The realm needed a king who could restore order, and by removing Rhaenyra from the throne, Aegon delivered just that. Conclusion: Aegon did what was necessary. Aegon did not steal the throne, he inherited it. His actions were not those of a tyrant, but of a rightful king defending his claim and attempting to preserve the unity of the Seven Kingdoms. The war was tragic, yes, but history is filled with moments when hard choices had to be made for the greater good. In the end, Aegon stood as the shield of tradition, law, and order against the storm of rebellion and disorder.